So the good thing about this unit is that it piles on what last time is. So if you understand the last unit, then this will just work on really easily. If not, it's going to be a little bit hard. So our essential question is, how do I identify the domain and range in visual representations? What I mean by that is just like what we did, the mapping, the graph, the table, the set of points, things like that. So the vocab we need to worry about is domain, which is x values and input, which we've used in last session. The range, which is our y values. F of x is now a fancy y. And evaluate, which means substituting a number in the equation. Okay, so let's just look at the table. In a table, that looks like this. X, Y, we have 7, 2, 5, 6. My domain would just be 7, 2. My range would just be 5, 6. That's it. Alright, now let's look at a mapping. Draw this circle here, draw this circle here. Let's do 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13. This goes here, this goes here, this goes here. My domain is my x values. So that's always on the left. So that's going to be 5, 6, 7. My range is going to be my y values, which is always on the right. So that's going to be 8, 12, 13. Alright, so we found our domain and range in table and mapping. We're pretty much almost done. So let's look at a graph of a group of points. So in points, let's say I have 1, 5, 2, 7, 3, 8, 5, 15. My domain is my x values. So that's always the numbers in front. So we got a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 5. My range is always my y values. So that's going to be my 5, my 7, my 8, and my 15. That's my domain, and that's my range. Lastly, we will look at it in a graph. So in a graph, remember this is always my x-axis, and this is always my y-axis. So I have a bunch of points. And let's say this point is 2, 5, -3, -7. And this is 4, 8, 10. I'm just making this up, so don't be worrying about too much on it. This is my graph. If you need more clarification, my x values are on the bottom. So my domain is just going to be -7, -3, 2, 5. My range is going to be my y values, which is 4, 8, 10. I'm done. My next essential question is how to evaluate f of x. Okay, so it'll say evaluate f of x equals 2x minus 7 when x equals 5. Okay, you're like, oh my gosh, this seems so complicated. I got this fancy thing. Don't worry about it. This is what I want you to draw. I want you to draw a machine just like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to look like that. Okay, put an arrow. And I want to write underneath it input. Okay? Then outside, the other side, I want you to put output. Underneath input, I want you to put domain in parentheses. And on the right, I want you to put output, which is range. Inside the machine, I want you to write the function. So I'm going to take 2x plus 7, I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so when x is 7, we know, when x is 5, we know that x is always my domain. So I'm going to put x equals 5 as my input. Okay, so that means that 5 is my domain, so 5 is my domain, so 5's going in there. That means a 5's going to go in that machine, going to go right in there, and it's going to go, this 5 is going inside this machine, and it's going to come out. Well, in order to go anywhere, it has to go in the machine. Inside the machine, it's going to happen something. Well, we know that when x equals 5, which is my input, we have to multiply it by 2 and subtract it by 7. So inside the machine, I'm going to do 2 times 5 minus 7. Okay? This is what I want you to write underneath. So 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. So my output is 3. So my answer is 3. Let me do another one. I'm going to put it up here. Let's have evaluate f of x equals x minus 5. When my domain is 10. Okay, so I'm going to draw my machine. It's not the best machine, but whatever. That's my input. That's my domain. And I'm going to draw my output. And that's my range. Inside the machine, I put the function. My domain is my input. It's also here. So I'm going to put 10. My function is x minus 5. So now I'm going to plug in 10 for x. So I'm going to write 10 minus 5. And my output is 5. And that's it. So on your own, on the next slide, I want you to do these. Evaluate f of x equals 9x minus 10 when x equals 7, x equals negative 2, and x equals 1/9. And an asterisk. Draw the machine.